everybody, it's Joy from joyslife.com, and today I want to show you how to use the CriKits Embossing Mat, their embossing tool, and also we're going to cut some of their metal. Look at these cool colors they come in. This is just 3 of the 10 colors, and they may have more now that you can get. They're pretty cool. You can get them at the CriKit.com website. So these are really neat. What I've done here is, this is the embossing mat, the stripe thing down here that you see, and what I've done is already apply some of their silver metal to it, and I actually used my squeegee here to lay it out really well and flat. They suggest that you do that, and I found that it works great, especially later if you're cutting your metal or something. Sometimes the ends get all raggedy, so let me show you that because I'll show you how cool it is to iron them out a little bit. Okay, you see how that metal is bent, and the edges where I cut it with a pair of scissors, they're kind of raggedy looking. You can just take your embossing tool, you can just take your squeegee and go over that metal to lay it out flatter. Okay, I'm not going to do it too hard because I've already got some other metal down there, but you see how I got rid of that wrinkle? Now, if you have really wrinkled metal, that's pretty much going to stay there, but it's not really going to hurt anything. I have a couple of places here where there was some metal. I forgot I didn't have that in the Cricut. Okay, so you would just go over it like that. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to put this into the Cricut, and I'm actually using my Gypsy, so I'll use the Gypsy to help me load this. Here we are looking at my Gypsy, and this file looks a little complicated. I've got a lot of tabs up at the top, but really what we have here is, you see the vampire, I've written vampire and there's E. The E is actually short for embossing, and I'll show you that it says vampire emboss. And I wrote it like that so I would know that this is the thing that I want to emboss. The reason is, after I emboss, I'm going to change the embosser, which I already have in the Cricut, to the blade, and we'll cut out these pieces. Then I'm going to cut out all of these little circles, and then we're going to do something really cool with what we have. But the first thing we're going to do, let's go back to Vampire Emboss, and sometimes it takes it a second to catch up with me, or I didn't hit it just right. Come on, Gypsy, wake up. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is hit cut, and then we'll get the mat loaded. And then, there we are, and I've already got it loaded actually. So then what I'm going to do is hit cut. Now the embosser, let me show you that. There we go. The embosser does not need to be adjusted in any way. All we've done is put the embossing pen inside this Cricut holder that we use, and this you've seen me use before when we've used the Cricut gel pens. Here's how the embosser works. You've just got the embossing pen here. There's a thin tip and a larger tip on the other end. And all I'm going to do is put the embossing pen in there, and the magnet on this end actually helps hold the pen in place. So it's not going to fall out. You don't have to worry about that. Alright, so I'll install that back in there, and then we'll go ahead and emboss with the embossing pen. Alright, so I'm going to hit cut, and then my Cricut is going to get started. And the Gypsy will help it actually emboss, even though I hit cut, because we have the embosser in instead of a blade. And I forgot to hit OK, so it'll take a second. So I think that is pretty cool how it embosses. And I'm using it to emboss the face of Dracula especially, because it was really hard to cut out those tiny eyes and his little nostrils using the blade. I did it, but I just didn't really like the way it turned out, so we're just going to emboss it first, and then we're going to cut out larger areas using the Cricut blade. Well, what we don't want to do is unload the mat. We're going to leave that right where it is, and I'm just going to take out the Cricut holder with our little embossing tool in it, and I'll put that aside, making a noise there, and I'll just take our regular blade. I know this one is green. I used to have a red one for my expression here, but my red one cracked and they had to send me a new one. So I have a little greenie going in there. You'll probably recognize that as the standard color for a regular blade that you're most used to seeing. They used to be metal, but now they're making them out of plastic. I've got this set at 3. I've got the speed set at 3 and the pressure at 5. So the Gypsy actually is going to make the decisions about how fast and slow it goes, because the Gypsy chooses the speed for us. Okay, so what we want to do is hit return to design. You don't want to hit unload mat because we want to keep the mat right where it is. Now remember, I've already changed the embossing blade, the embossing pen to the blade. Now I'm going to hit cut 1. And I've labeled it cut 1 because I wanted to remember to cut this first. The second one I've called cut 2. So now I'm just going to cut out these individual pieces. Alright, what I've done here is, I'll zoom in and show you that Dracula. You see the darker parts there? Well, they're dark because those are the parts that are going to be cut. And what I was able to do is, I'm going to highlight this and show you real quick. I'm going to the advanced menu and I'm clicking on this button here. This button allows us to hide and reveal things. So if that one in red is highlighted now, if I click hide, it'll go away, meaning that it wouldn't be cut with the Cricut. Well, I want that to be cut, so I'm going to hit show, and we'll go back to what we had. Alright, now let me get back out of this. I'm just going to zoom out so I can see everything. Alright, now what I'm going to do is hit, or press, I'm not actually going to hit it, because I don't want to break my Gypsy. Alright, I'm going to press the cut button. Now don't hit unload, remember, and we'll hit cut. Okay, so now we're cutting out all those little pieces, and what I have is the CriKits Matt. This is their special mat down here, and you just apply it to a regular Cricut mat, and this, you peel off these white pieces here, and it holds your metal down. The black is sort of fuzzy, and it keeps the metal from sticking to the whole entire mat. That way it's easier to pick it up when it's all finished. Oh, I see there's a little place there it didn't cut because my metal kind of got bent up, so I'll probably cut that out myself. It's still looking really cool. Okay, it's almost done, and then we're going to cut out the whole circle thing that I've designed going around it. In the meantime, this is a good time for me to tell you, this is a red Cricut expression, not a Cricut cake. So, a lot of people ask me that, so I just wanted to be sure to say something about it. Okay, and for our last design, I'm just going to cut out these circles. And that's it. Then we'll be all finished. Alright, now here are the circles being cut out. And they actually don't, I've got it where they're linking everything together, so we're not going to cut through this area between each one. Uh-oh! Oh shoot, did you see that? Some bad news happened up there. Yikes! Oh, I'm cringing. Look at that. Oh, it's okay. Oh, thank goodness. Well, that kind of worked out. Whew! Scary. Alright. I'm not sure you caught off that. A little bit of it was off camera, but some of my some of this area here came out while I was still cutting. And if I'd been paying closer attention, I would have taken it out as it started to lift up. I do have a tiny break here, and we're just going to ignore it. Maybe I can flatten that out, and we're just, whatever. It's not that big a deal. See, that one's together. That's how it's supposed to look. But I still think that embosser does a great job. Isn't that neat? Alright, it's all done. We emboss the metal, and then we cut it out. And here it is. What I've done is to put it on a black candle, which actually smells like licorice, which is pretty cool. And it's all ready for Halloween. Now, what I did use is a pair of these Tonic scissors by Tim Holtz. These are great for cutting metal and all kinds of things, but when I had little places that didn't want to come out, I used these scissors to help it along. And you remember we had some problems. I didn't fix them all. There's that side. It looks good. What I did was tie these two pieces together because, you know, obviously they didn't come out tied together. I had a piece of metal, just some wire. I had some wire. This is just some little craft wire that I had. And I actually used those Tim Holtz scissors to cut that. That was very helpful. And I just tied them together. And let me show you the rest of this. Okay, here's the problem that I had. I actually had that piece of metal come off, and there was just nothing I could really do to put it back together. I thought about using some different glues and things like that, but I couldn't find anything that I had that wasn't flammable. So it seemed kind of stupid to put flammable glue on my candle, so I didn't want to burn the house down. So this is what I decided to go with. I think that's really super cool. I hope you have a great day and a happy Halloween. please come and see me at joyslife.com. Bye!